Hey there. Welcome to the Eurostep Milwaukee podcast. Who knows which team? The Brewers?
I don't know, Ty. I currently am drinking a beer in a cruising for a bruising glass.
I got the Brewers jersey on here. So
who knows which Milwaukee podcast this is?
Should we just talk crew?
Series sweep against the Mets. Adam and Andrew can talk about the Bucks.
Yeah. You guys can talk about the Bucks. Put in some more Bucks hours. We'll talk about the Brew Crew. A new guy invented today. Even the Brewers account was like, we just dropped this new reliever, 3 scoreless against the Mets in a short bullpen day. Jackson Chourio hits a dribble to third. It's like, yeah, that's a base hit. He did the safe thing. Like, you didn't have to signal it, dude. You were 5 steps past first on that. Crazy. We will talk about
speed.
We'll talk
Unreal
about the
speed.
We can't forsake our duties, Rohan. As host of the Eurostep Milwaukee Bucks podcast, proudly a part of the Eurostep Podcast Network and Blue Wire, and proudly presented by Prize Picks. We're going to talk Prize Picks. We're going to talk the Bucks. But there will be more Brewers on this feed, probably early this week, courtesy of our friends Adam and Andrew of Cruising for a Bruising. Andrew in New York for these games, getting beers dumped on him. The Mets fans not having fun with Andrew celebrating the Brewers' strong level of play. But make sure to catch every Cruising for a Bruising episode after each Milwaukee Brewers series. Go subscribe wherever you're listening to this podcast on audio, whether that's Apple, Spotify, or any other hosting audio platforms. Pocket Casts, wherever you Overcast, Castbox. There's a bunch, dude. Well, Google Podcasts is shutting down. If you're listening on Google Podcasts, find somewhere else.
Yeah, they should. Did you say Castbox?
Yep, that's another one.
Oh my god.
Yeah, there's a lot out there. I know. Almost everyone.
If you're listening to this on Castbox, tweet at me, please. I need to figure, what's going on in your brain? Let me see it. Why?
I'm trying to think of any others I can name. There's so many,
Podbean?
Well, that's both. That's also a hosting platform.
You
can upload a pod, so that might just be those are on Podbean.
Oh, okay.
But
I tried once. It was a swing and a miss for me, unlike Reese Hoskins in games 1 and 2.
Nice. Put pod next to anything, and it's probably an active podcast player for some reason. Anyway, the Milwaukee Bucks. Can you trust them? That's the question we're here to answer. After the Bucks had just a horribly uneven last 4 games of basketball, Thunder game, amazing. Jordan and I believe, podcasted soon after that.
Yeah, it's been a while. It's been 2 weeks for me.
Yeah, you've been gone, and we've missed
I'm giving Andrew a run for his money for Mr. Events.
Yeah, you've been a busy guy. So you didn't get to talk to me after the Thunder game, which was amazing. You did get to talk to me after the Lakers game, which started amazing, that same defensive intensity in the first half, and quickly fell to horrible as the Bucks completely blew a double-digit lead in the fourth quarter. We didn't talk at all after the Pelicans game, I think out of probably sheer disgust. Just an uneven, poor game for the Bucks, basically from start to finish on the road against New Orleans. I mean, they kind of put it together. Mostly Giannis put it together late in that game, but the rest of the Bucks were not able to help, specifically 2 who we will talk about. And then the Hawks game, fine. The Khris Middleton, everyone. When I tweeted Chris's 3 bad games in a row after the Pelicans game, a lot of people were like, we're at the bad part of the cycle, but he's going to be Michael Jordan next game. And wouldn't you know it, in Atlanta, Khris Middleton, 90% from the field, 3 for 3 from deep, 21, 6, 6, and a steal, only 1 turnover. An incredible game from Khris to help put away the Hawks. A nice road win without Damian Lillard, who was out for personal reasons. So it's been a up and down and down and up last 4 games for the Milwaukee Bucks. I looked, Rohan, because we always say we're mere weeks from playoffs. We're close to playoffs. Less than 3 weeks from today, playoffs start. I believe on 4/20?
Yes, that's when the playoffs start.
It's
April
an interesting
20th.
choice, NBA.
Yeah, play-in tournament is the 16th to the 19th, and then the playoffs start on the 20th, I believe. So it's going to be it's less than 3 weeks, like you mentioned. It's 3 weeks from this past Saturday. There's not a lot of time left.
There is not.
As someone who knows about time with Ty, tell me how much time is left.
Not much.
Yes.
Not much. Plenty of time to have podcast interviews, any Bucks players want to try and get a quick heat check in before the playoffs, there is a known correlation between coming on the Eurostep and having a great season. But yeah, I mean, I think let's start with Giannis because we often don't. I think if there is a reason to trust, and we'll basically just go through why would we trust the Bucks and why wouldn't we? Like, what are the reasons? You look at Giannis against the Lakers, faded late in that game, and the free throws were a huge issue. All that said, 29, 21, and 11. Did have 7 turnovers, but also had 5 stocks. Shot 56% from the field. I will say it didn't help. The officials decided Anthony Davis could not commit a foul in the latter stages of that game. That did not help Giannis' stats. Then against New Orleans, in a game where almost everyone else stunk, Bees was good. Giannis has 35, 14, and 4, 68% from the field. Still missed 6 of his 11 free
including
throws.
20 points in a row, Ty.
Yeah.
For the Bucks. Just 20 in a row in the third. And you're just like, okay, can anyone do anything else? There were possessions where it's like, okay, Khris is like, yeah, it's my turn now. I'm gonna take this guy to school. I'm gonna work him down, and then I'm just gonna brick a shot. But no, sorry, you know what? Let's keep talking about Giannis.
Yeah, and then against Atlanta, there was no hitch in Giannis's giddy up. 36, 16, 8, 3 steals and a block on 12 of 22 shooting, and knocked down 12 of 16 free throws. 75% is a nice performance for Giannis. That helped close the door on a Hawks team that's been weirdly good. It looked like they kind of had short legs given their intense couple of games in the last week or so against the Celtics. 2 Hawks wins against the Celtics.
And just so many injuries as well.
Yeah, no Trae Young, no Jalen Johnson. Or Jalen Johnson?
Yeah, no Jalen.
Why did I think his name was something else? I was thinking of
Nicolay Legend.
Yep, I was for like a day. I was thinking of the Bears cornerback Jalen Johnson. I was like, no, that must not be the right name. Spelled differently, but I did have the name right. I had the spelling wrong, but that doesn't matter here. So we can just move on.
No Onyeka Okongwu. Sadiq Bey obviously out for the season.
Bruno Fernando was freaking hooping though, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
And got in Pat Bev's face, but Pat Bev. Well, we'll get to Pat Bev later. I think let's stick to Giannis. A reason you can trust the Bucks. I mean, outside of the poor late game against the Lakers, we did give them a down stock for. But I think clearly there was a lot of physicality, and there was just, no one else was doing anything. And I think it just caught up to Giannis. Dame does end up scoring 27 in that game, but on 29 shots and just could not string together makes. Malik Beasley scored 21, but again, the Bucks are just force-feeding him shots. He wasn't really that efficient. He was just one of the only ones shooting, and Bobby Portis played well, but again, made most of his impact earlier in the game. But that is a good starting point. Probably the best player in the league. I'm just not going to get into Giannis Jokic right now, but clearly a top 2 player in the league. That's a good place to start in terms of trust.
For sure. You have to have that guy in order to win a title. And by that guy, I mean one of the 1A best player in a title team caliber of star. Caps lock STAR star type of player. Yeah. And Giannis is one of those guys. And you need one of those, you can't win a title without one. So just having Giannis on your team is a reason to trust the Bucks, like you mentioned. He's playing some of the best basketball of his entire career this season, if not the best basketball of his entire career this season. And I would argue he is. His passing is at another level. His scoring is so efficient. He's going to be the first player to average 30 on 60% shooting from the field in NBA history, which is just monstrous efficiency. He's defending at a high level. He's doing everything you could possibly ask for at a high level, except for the free throws sometimes. But he's doing whatever he can. He's putting this team on his shoulders. He is the reason that this team, through all the ups and downs of the Milwaukee Bucks season, there's only 8 games left of the Milwaukee Bucks regular season, and it feels like there should be 40 because we've been at the midpoint of 3 different seasons for the Milwaukee Bucks.
It has been draining. It has been a draining season.
It's been one of the most draining seasons I can ever remember. And there's
Brewers.
Only 8 games. What?
Let's go Brewers.
Let's go Brewers. Spring is here. It's time.
I've been watching a lot of March Madness too, which I usually don't do. Both tournaments. The women's tournament.
My God. Iowa LSU is going to be incredible.
Dude, that whole bracket. I mean, listen. As much as I'm looking forward to Iowa LSU, I am hoping Iowa wins because I want the Paige Beckers Caitlin Clark game really bad.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah. I think that is 2.
And it puts them 1-1 after last year's title game.
Yeah, it would, and I just think that I mean, Gino said it. He said, I think we got the best player in the country. If you look at the numbers don't lie. I was like, ooh, I wonder who he could be referring to as the person people think is the best player in the country. I think that's a Titanic matchup. Anyway, look at what the Bucks have done to us. Every other sport, we're like, that's a. We're talking about men's college basketball before the podcast. Disgusting game. Everyone's
awful.
fouled out. I was watching last night. Again, I've been locked in. I've been like, anything but the Bucks. Clemson,
R.I.P. to Marquette.
Alabama. Yeah. Clemson, Alabama. And it's just like all the good players are fouled out. Why is it 5 fouls? It's dumb. Like, everyone good. Anyway. So we trust Giannis, and then we want to talk about other sports. I think after Giannis, we probably have to talk about Damian Lillard second.
Yeah, and he's a reason to not trust the Bucks.
I was going to ask you what you thought.
So the thing about Damian Lillard this season has been what's going on here? I mean, it's been I think the arc of Damian Lillard's season is really reflective on the Milwaukee Bucks season as a whole, because it's been a lot of ups, it's been a lot of downs, it's been a lot of change.
I've got the month-over-month splits if you want to hear them. So we'll rule out October because it was only 3 games. He didn't shoot very well. November, he shoots 42% from the field, 33% from 3. The Bucks plus minus per game. I'll read that instead of the win-loss. So they win his minutes by 3 points per game, which is like not very good considering you're a starter, you're a superstar, you're playing with Giannis. Yeah. December, Dame shoots 46% from the field, 43% from deep. He scores 26 in both months. The Bucks win his minutes by 10 points per game. All right, you're blowing teams out. That's great.
Best month of the season for Dame.
It is. January, not very good. 39% from the field, 27% from 3. Still has a +4, plus minus. Again, it's like you're playing heavy minutes with Giannis. You should be a guy as well. His scoring drops to 23 points per game. And then February, scoring drops all the way to 21 points per game, although he does shoot a more efficient 43% from the field and 36% from deep.
A lot of blowouts in that month.
The plus minus goes back up to reflect that. Plus 12.6, best of the year so far. And now in March, which is over for the Bucks, they do not play again in March, up to 24% or 24 points, per game. So up the highest it's been since December, but still not a very high number, especially considering season high 37.4 minutes per game in March. They rode Dame long in some of these games. 43% from the field, good. 40% from 3, also good. The plus minus is just plus 2.8. I think that's certainly not helped by these last 2 games. So he was on a heater in March. Then against the Lakers, 3 for 29 from the field, 3 for 14 from deep. Does score 27 plus 8 assists, but the Bucks do lose his minutes, and obviously that is not efficient whatsoever. And then in New Orleans is more efficient. I mean, 8 for 16 from the field, 3 of 6 from deep, but 20-7. It's like, okay, that's fine. That's not really trade Drew and your Grayson and your remaining picks and go all in for performance, especially in a loss, like a loss where, the Bucks only score 100 points. Like, shoot more.
Where offense is supposed to be your calling card.
Yeah, I mean, it is. I mean, like, he holds up okay defensively. Teams still go at him. He's fighting on that end for sure.
I think he's been honestly more impressive defensively than offensively.
Per expectations, yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Not
raw.
Yeah, okay.
No.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And it's underwhelming. It truly is. Like, there's moments of absolute brilliance that we've seen from Damian Lillard this season, and that makes me think, hey, maybe he's a reason to trust the Bucks in the postseason, because he is still showing that he's capable of being that 1A superstar type guy, a true embarrassment of riches as your second option if you're the Milwaukee Bucks. But then he has performances like he's had of late. It's just been a complete up and down performance where you wonder, what version of Damian Lillard are we going to get game to game in the postseason? Are we just going to see this trend continue? Is it going to be, hey, I'm just going to be that guy, or I'm just going to be like pick one? Honestly, like here's a hot take, Ty. I'd be more satisfied with Damian Lillard being constantly mid through a playoff series than the highs and the lows.
It depends on the number of games for me.
I guess that's fair.
If it's 4 good ones, then I can live with the lows. We've gone through this cycle with different players on the Bucks.
Let's say it's a 6-game series and it's 3-3.
And I guess probably consistently mid is better.
Consistently mid's better because you're not relying on the expectations of Damian Lillard being. So
is that like slightly less efficiency, but basically the Pelicans game where he's just like 20-7?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that could probably work.
But it's underwhelming, and it might not win you a playoff series.
Yeah, not against Boston. I mean,
there's no chance.
You beat the Sixers or whatever.
Yeah, you beat I don't even know if you beat the Knicks.
Yeah, it's going to be tough. They're kind of rounded into form. Although I don't think – is OG Anunoby still not playing?
Yeah, neither is Randall.
Yeah, the OG part is very concerning to me for their playoff ceiling. Julius Randle also is a player on the Knicks. I hope he gets healthy.
Yes.
No further comment on.
I got to take a tour of MSG when I had a soiree in New York City. It was fun.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Did you see the room where they bar Spike Lee?
No, I didn't.
Who was it?
Charles
Oakley. Yeah.
I was like, they barred Spike Lee?
The Oakley Defense Force? No, not yet. I mean, knowing Dolan, anything is possible, but not yet. They haven't.
Yeah.
The Dame thing has been disappointing. I'm glad we're just straight up saying it.
It's disappointing.
I mean, when you rely heavily on distance shooting, there's going to be peaks and valleys. I think we were all very aware of that. But I would say the fact that it still feels like he and Giannis don't have a good balance or don't mesh. I wouldn't even say, they just don't mesh very well a lot of the time. I mean, there's the great pick and roll plays like we saw early in the Lakers game. But then, crunch time of that game, it ends up Dame has the ball. It's one of the most
excruciating things I've ever watched in terms of the Bucks playing basketball is the fourth quarter and overtimes of that Lakers game.
He had a couple big shots, but the decision making was horrible.
It truly was. There were so many times where it would be swing, Giannis screening for Khris, Giannis pick and roll, kick it back out to Giannis, flow into a DHO with Dame, and then it's just shuttled to Malik Beasley into a contested jumper in the corner. It's you had me in the first half.
You were doing 3 games of this. I don't know what's going on with this.
It's almost like they're clustering their stars too much. It truly feels like that. It truly feels like
you mean geometrically on the floor.
Yes.
Yeah.
They need to have at least one of those guys stashed 2 passes away, because otherwise your spacing is so off balance. You can just collapse a defense into those middle 3. Imagine this in football. We're going all of the sports now. Imagine that your 3 best players are just your quarterback, your running back, and your center. So imagine you're the Eagles.
Pretty close.
But you don't have AJ Brown.
Yeah.
So you are just if you're a defense, you can just collapse the middle. You don't have to worry about the outsides, and then you just have to throw it to the outside and try to have someone make it happen. And that seems like the Bucks' offensive plans in late stages of the game. They're trying to do the right things. They're trying to have Giannis, Dame, and Khris all involved, but they're not doing it in the correct manner. You're supposed to only have 2 of those guys involved in an action at a time and have one other guy on the weak side to be able to leverage the defense even further, which provides space for both parties and both actions involved. That's how it's supposed to run, not just have all of them bunched together at the top of the key. It's maddening.
It really is. I mean,
Doc Rivers, another reason I don't trust the Bucks.
Well, let's finish up on Dame here. Unless maybe we don't have anything else on Dame. I think he's got to be a little more aggressive. I think he's been too passive lately, which is not good. That said, he also needs to make sure that Giannis is getting the ball at some points. And not never. Which, was it the Pelicans game where Giannis didn't attempt a shot until there was a minute left?
Yeah, until there was
he did get fouled once and missed some free
47
throws,
seconds or something.
His first shot attempt, there was 47 seconds left. So I think, not getting carried away with the smart play. I mean, Malik Beasley is a good player, but
great player for the Bucks this season.
We're going overboard with how many shots are going to him in crunch time. Let's talk about Khris next, but first, let's talk about our friends at Prize Picks, Rohan, America's #1 daily fantasy game We love prize picks. We've been picking more, picking less, and winning all season long. I've got a flex play from the Lakers game. The Bucks didn't win, but I won, thankfully. Damian Lillard, more than 35.5 points, rebounds, assists, ends with 40. Khris Middleton, all those missed shots, so close for 4 out of 4 here, but ends up with 25 PRA, and the projection was 26.5. So that was my miss out of the 4. Malik Beasley, demon time, 3.5 threes made. He ended up with 5. Again, it kind of worked out for me that they just funneled Malik Beasley shots on and off, and I didn't think this one was going to come through, but the overtime helped. D'Angelo Russell, more than 20.5 points. I figured no Bron, they'll probably go to him again. He had a slow start, but came on hot. Did end up with 29. So that was a nice little $15 win on a $10 flex play. That's why the flex plays are great. You don't have to be perfect.
I also have a flex play win.
Oh, what did you have?
So this was from the Hawks game.
Oh, nice. Much more.
I had four picks. Giannis, more than 3.5 dunks. The projection was 3.5. He ended with 6.
Oh.
Khris Middleton projected at 7 assists. He ends at 6 assists.
Oh, so close.
So close. Brook Lopez projected at 1.5 block shots. He ended with 2. And then Bogdanovich projected at 4 assists and 4 assists. So it just cancels out. So I got 2 out of 3 in that, and with the flex play, that's still a win.
There you go. Bogdan, man. I was watching Bogdan, like, if that went through, is it Bogdan and Drew still here?
Absolutely, because they've had 2 straight titles.
Yeah, I think so too. Download the app today. Use code Eurostep for a first deposit match up to $100. We love prize picks. We've been playing it. We're knocking up some wins here, knocking down some wins here. Whoops. Pick more, pick less. It's that easy with prize picks. Again, prize picks app, code Eurostep for a first deposit match up to $100. Bit of a pregnant pause here as Rohan collects himself. But let's talk about Khris Middleton, who, again, the folks in the app formerly known as Twitter mentions were right on. 4 for 15 against the Lakers. That's bad. Like, has maintained rebounds and assists the whole time, as he does. 3 for 12 against the Pelicans. That's quite bad. 9 for 10 against the Hawks. Quite good. I think it's kind of just same old Khris to a certain extent. Like, there was, many people, of course, have always been on the, Khris is hurt, Khris is washed, whatever, can't trust him. I actually think you can trust him. You just have to be aware that there's going to be a couple game 2s in the postseason where he's just very bad. But
I think this is just Khris Middleton.
It's just truly Khris. Like, yeah, I don't think you could say he's degraded because he's very bad for 2 straight games. I think he's just, a player who comes and goes a little bit. But typically, I feel like when you really need him, he's there for you more often than not.
Yeah, that's what the Khris Middleton experience has been. That's always what's hindered him from being just like a capital, like maybe not a caps lock, but capital S star in the league is just consistency. Like, he'll have those cycles where he just looks like prime Michael Jordan. And then you'll also have those periods where he just looks like, man, what's this guy doing out here on the court? And love him or hate him, we love him. That's Khris Middleton for you. That's the third best player to ever suit up for the Milwaukee Bucks for you right there. When it's all said and done, in terms of a Bucks career, yeah.
I think either way, it's
I'd say in a vacuum, Oscar's better.
I don't know if he was at that point. I was probably Sidney, Moncrief.
No.
Marcus
I'm just saying
Johnson.
As a player to play for the Milwaukee Bucks.
Yeah, I know. I think Khris as a Buck is better than Oscar, but I think
absolutely
Moncrief, Marcus Johnson, and Ray Allen all have their cases. Obviously, Giannis and Kareem are the unimpeachable 1-2 in the combo.
For sure. If that was not abundantly clear.
Just making sure people are aware.
But yeah, that's the Khris Middleton experience for you. It's ups, it's downs, but then when you need to rely upon him, he usually comes through for you. And that's
the funny thing about Khris in those 2 games, the bad ones. Against the Lakers, he was a -2. And against the Pelicans, they were dead even in his minutes. Like, obviously, his performances are big reasons they lost both of those games. But he still adds 8 rebounds, 6 assists, and 6 rebounds, 7 assists in the 2 games. So at least the playmaking helps balance out those a little bit. But the Bucks certainly need him to not, shoot 4 for 15 too many times in a playoff series.
For sure. And the most important thing, I'm glad you brought up the assists, is that Giannis is so comfortable playing with Khris.
Yeah.
So comfortable playing with Khris. We talk a lot about the Dame Giannis pick and roll, how it's unstoppable. The Khris Giannis pick and roll still does a lot of damage for you because, that's the A+ action that helped the Bucks win a title. It's still there. You just have some things that would theoretically be better, but haven't really panned out that way. But you have like that Khris Giannis connection. That's a decade old at this point. Like they know how to play with each other so well, which is a reason why you're like, hey, maybe we can trust Khris Middleton in the playoffs. And I think he is a reason to trust the Bucks because Khris Middleton just time again, he's come through when the Bucks really need him to show up. You look at this Atlanta Hawks game without Dame. Marcus Johnson mentioned this on the broadcast early on when Khris got going. There's a real tone shift and a mindset shift when you go from the third option to the second option. And that's what Khris was in that game. He was the second option. That's something that he's used to being. And he knows, hey, Dame's not here. I need to step it up a bit. And guess what? He did. He performed. He came through when this team needed him. And that's what he always does for this Bucks team. He comes through when he's needed. And a lot of the time that manifests itself in the postseason. Ask Boston Celtics fans. Ask Atlanta Hawks fans what they think of Khris Middleton.
Phoenix Suns fans as well.
Ask Phoenix Suns fans what they think of Khris Middleton. He is a playoff killer, and he is looking like he's rounding back into form.
Let's talk about just the big rotation in general, besides Giannis. But Brook Lopez and Bobby Portis. As a whole, is that a reason to trust the Bucks in the playoffs?
I don't think it's a reason to distrust the Bucks.
I would say it is a reason to trust them. I think Brook Lopez has lost a step. I think he's still playable.
Yes.
I think he is more of a situational player now. I think we've seen that reflected in his minutes in some recent games, although not dramatically in the ones in recent weeks. On the other hand, after we harshly critiqued Bobby Portis, I think he has been much better on the whole, and I think he had did you see his first alley-oop as a Milwaukee Buck?
Here, I have a lot to say about this.
Go ahead, because I was absolutely... you've played as a 6'10" big on the team for 4 years?
Yeah. Okay,
None?
good. So we share the same opinion. Okay,
None?
cool. It's like, bro, why the Bucks PR and social media team are going like, hey, and just like talking to all the players about their reaction to this. It's not something to celebrate.
It's
guys.
bad.
It's not bad. Good. Why? This is your 6'10" backup big who's a 6th man of the year candidate, and you're like, oh my god, he threw it out his first alley-oop as a member of the Milwaukee Bucks. It's not like he's year 15 Zach Randolph or anything. Like, what are we doing here? This is a young guy who's 6'10". Like, he should be able to throw down a lob.
Well, it shows you. I mean, they've been so bad at lobs, both ends of lobs, like as a team.
No, this is his fourth attempted one, I believe.
Until Dame, only Khris could throw any lobs. And I just like, how many times were we running Khris Bobby pick and roll? Not very many.
I think it's more of an indictment on Bobby, honestly.
Yeah, I do too.
Because it's like, bro, you're 6'10". You're 6'10". You should be able to dunk a basketball.
Well, I feel like it's not as much about the physical as it is how many of his shots are like, give me the ball in the post and let me cook. Like, how rarely is he screening and rolling? Which is the most common way. That or cuts, the most common way to catch an alley-oop.
I just think they were just impressed that he was able to throw it down. Because usually,
it wasn't impressive. I mean, it would have been easy to lose it. I mean, he one-handed grabbed it and cocked back. And
you're a 6'10" NBA player. I'm sorry, Bobby. But, like, come on.
What is Bobby's vertical?
It's got to be like 5 inches or something.
Don't think it's outstanding. Anyway, though, but he's been playing very well. I mean, he has not been connecting on alley-oops very well, but I do think his level of play overall, since All-Star, basically, has been very, very good. He's had a couple bad games, but I remember one of the games that I was critiquing him, he was outstanding in the second half, and I think he's scoring better. I think he's taking his time more in the post. He's passing a little bit. Him and Brook both are passing a little bit more, which has been nice to see.
It's measured at 31.5 inches during his combine. That's not true.
I mean, that was 10 plus years ago now. So maybe it's
15, 16, so 9.
Oh, 9 years ago.
That's crazy.
I mean, yeah. Maybe he just doesn't.
You know who else is in this draft class? I forgot. Rakeem Christmas. Remember him?
Oh, I thought he was going to be so good.
Rashad Vaughn, as we know, obviously.
Stan Van Gundy said he's going to be the GOAT.
Rashawn Vaughn had, I was looking at the wrong stat. I thought it said he had a 28-inch vertical. I was like, no. Oh, man. Kelly Oubre. Rashawn Vaughn had a 34-inch vertical.
Less than Bobby?
Yeah, he had a higher vertical jump than Bobby.
No, it'd be less. I thought Bobby was 38.
No, Bobby was 31 and a half.
Oh, I thought you said 38. Okay.
No.
Anyway,
Crazy.
enough
Pat Connaughton, highest in that draft class, 44 inches.
He can jump.
Are you telling me Pat Connaughton can jump 2 feet higher than Portis?
No.
That's 12 and a half inches.
That's 1 foot.
Yeah, I messed up. I meant to say 1 foot instead of 2.
Oh, yeah. I mean, yeah, I find that very believable, to be honest.
No, I do, yeah.
Like, who dunks more in a season?
1 foot is crazy, though.
Well, it is. But the starting height makes it less crazy.
I know, but still, just whatever. We're getting too far.
Yeah,
and it's my
we're
fault.
in combine data. It's NFL draft season, not NBA draft season. We don't need to do combine data right now. I've never talked about combine data for NBA draft. I don't care at all.
No.
But Brook Lopez still, in some matchups, I think has still been vital for the Bucks lately. We thought he was pretty good against Atlanta. The Hawks tried to guard him with DeAndre Hunter and put their centers on Giannis, and the Bucks went to him, and he made all 3 of his shots and all 6 of his free throws. So very effective scoring around the rim, which was nice to see. Also had 2 blocks in that game. Thought he was okay, but not great against New Orleans. Some of the shot selection still is a little frustrating. That's probably people's biggest gripe, and I don't think he's having the same impact defensively, but I still do think he is having a defensive impact around the rim. It's just against stretchier teams, he just has a harder time staying out there, and his frustration level this season is off the charts. Got a tech from the bench. Come on, man. It was a random play. Like I saw, it was one of those where sometimes I see the tweet from Eric Name, and my stream is obviously behind because he's there. And I'm like, oh, what is about to happen that's going to piss off Brook Lopez? Because I knew he was going to get the tech from the bench. And I'm watching, and it's just like, it was like a missed shot, and like the team rebounded and was going, it wasn't even close to a foul. I was like, what is he upset about? Needs a chill pill, I think, before playoffs.
He needs a quick trip to Disney.
That's what I said. That's exactly what I said during that game. Send him to Disney for a couple games. Bucks are on a trip out east anyway. Just pop him down. Let him relax, unwind a little bit, and then get back.
Yeah, just let him feel the joys of Disneyland again. Disneyland, yeah. Disney World, which one is it?
I never know, dude. I've not been to either. So
I think it's Disney
I just say
World.
Disney to be safe.
I've been to the Florida one. I think. Yes. Been to Epcot. How about that?
There you go. Okay, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, Brook Lopez, he's still having like similar defensive impact at the rim. I just think one of the issues is, and you hit the nail on the head here, is teams are a lot more flexible and can be a lot stretchier. Like that's something this season where I've just noticed a lot of teams. It used to just be a few teams that had like stretch at bigs that were able to give Brook Lopez trouble. It's like the Al Horfords of the world, the Miles Turners of the world. Now most teams have a guy who can go out there and do that. And that just is frustrating for Brook Lopez, who's, a little older. A lot of these guys are a lot younger or have to get their P checked, like Al Horford. And it's just like he doesn't have that same matchup versatility that he used to have because he has gotten a step slower. Like he used to be okay switching out onto the perimeter.
They were switching him 1 through 5 against Atlanta. I was like, why are we doing this?
It was weird.
It was not.
You're just letting Bogdan cook him.
Yeah, it was like it's not like it was. Again, we've talked about this on the show plenty. There are screens when you kind of force a team to switch, and then there's like kind of just like one player passes in front of another player, and you could easily just like stay with your
giving
man.
Up.
Yeah, and they were just like, okay, Brook guard Bogdan, who's red hot, or Murray, who's been incredible since Trae Young got hurt. Also feeling very good about if the Bucks can get DeJounte Murray, they should, and feeling that people said that it's not a good fit, we're wrong. And he would help a lot. It probably wasn't ever going to happen, but just mini victory lap.
We got Pat Bev out of it, though, at the trade deadline, so it's okay. We'll talk about him in a little bit.
Yeah, I think the Bucks bench as a whole is a combo, but before that, unless you have anything more on Brook and Bobby, and Bobby's defense, we all know what it is, but he is more mobile.
It's passable.
Yeah.
It's not an issue. It's not a blatant issue.
The trapping has been working, but I'm a little worried about it in playoffs when teams scout for it. And I'm guessing they'll probably have to stop doing it, and I'm not sure if they will, and just like switch normally. But we'll see what happens there. But I think he can switch. I think he can trap. And Brook, of course, can drop, and they should stop putting him on real perimeter players on purpose. If it happens across match, whatever, one possession, he'll hold his own. But that game, they started switching 1 through 5 and just like on purpose. I was like, no, don't do that. That's not good. So the bigs, you said neither. I said trust. I think that's okay. Malik Beasley as the 5th starter. I'm kind of torn. I think I'll say neither. We'll flip flop. I'll say neither.
I'll say trust, given that he has proven that he is capable of being a sniper, and in these games, like, he's not afraid of the moment. Like, we keep talking about him getting shuffled these shots and funneled these shots late in games. He's taking them. Like, he's not like scared of the moment. He's not like, I love him, he's my son. He's not Grayson Allen in that regard, where he's going to let the time run out on a shot to end your season.
Suns fans are talking about giving him the max possible extension, by the way.
I'm not mad. He's been amazing for them.
He has.
He's been absolutely incredible in all facets of the game.
He has been. It's March.
Yeah.
I guess I'm just probably not a team that's going to be going deep either way, but.
Oh, absolutely not. That Suns team is cooked.
Yeah, I mean, hey, I guess anyone can get hot at the right time, but
Isaiah Thomas is getting a second 10-day contract for them, and I think that speaks volumes.
It is befuddling to me what is going on there now that they've gotten healthy.
Yeah, Bradley Beal is not that guy. The 3 guys. Bucks probably dodged a bullet there.
They definitely dodged a bullet there.
Like, he still owed $200 million, I think?
Yeah.
Tough. Thanks, Brad, for wanting to go to Phoenix.
Dame for Book. Dame for KD.
I'd take Book.
Well, I would take Book more. Yeah. But I felt like KD was more realistic, but obviously I don't think.
I honestly wouldn't trade Dame for either.
What?
Yeah.
You wouldn't trade Dame for Devin Booker?
No. For this season, in terms of like team building, absolutely.
I would do it right now and break the CBA. I would have done it at the trade deadline. I would do it as immediately when I could in the summer. Sorry, Dame.
I think you're probably right.
I think I'm for sure. I would also do it for KD, even though I think he's soft in big moments. But I just think the way he still plays, like, you just be overwhelmingly good in the small moments.
Wouldn't you think that for the current Phoenix Suns then?
But they don't have a Giannis.
Yeah, that's true.
Or a Doc.
Khris. I think they have the coaching advantage.
I don't know. Vogel's. I don't know. I don't want to talk even more about the Suns. They're not going to matter this summer. Hopefully the Bucks do matter. Malik Beasley, though, yeah, I mean, he'll take the shots. He hasn't, to me, played great in the highest moments. He had some big shots against the Lakers. I'll give him credit for that. But like, it feels like, and I should look up data instead of just vamping, but I feel like he has not been great in the Celtics games, for example. You know, the games, especially, I mean, that also makes sense just because that is such a big, physical, defensively competent team. But I'm a little concerned about the big game aspect of it. It's probably overblown. He was really good in the rout against Boston and made 2 shots each in the 2 close games, which again kind of is like that was kind of a fake game. The Bucks obviously went up huge. I mean, it counts, but you know what I mean. I'm trying to see, like, Denver, he was good in 1, okay in 1. Miami, he was very good, so that's encouraging because that's a matchup where you really need those shooters to stand out. And defensively, he has improved. He still is not a very good defender, I would say. He tries. But overall, I don't think it's a reason to not trust the Bucks.
In clutch situations post-All-Star break for the Milwaukee Bucks, Malik Beasley is shooting 45.5% from the field, including 44.4% on
That's good. Okay.
Yeah, which is 4 of 9. It's a small sample size.
Yeah.
But
as it should be. The Bucks are trying to make it a big sample size.
I'll tell you what, guess who's shooting 100% from the field in clutch situations post-All-Star break? Jae Crowder, Pat Connaughton, Pat Beverly, combined 4 shots.
Oh. I will say the Bucks bench outside of Bobby, who's like a quasi starter almost at this point. I think the Bucks bench is actually a reason to trust them. I like the way the Bucks bench is shaping up. I think Crowder and Connaughton, although they did not shoot well against Atlanta, are two just like reliable wings who can do a lot of different things. Like I don't think either of them are one-dimensional, and both of them have been showcasing. For Jae, obviously, it's wing defense and has been driving pretty well, and PC has been assisting at a high level with Pat Bev or Dame indisposed lately, and continues to shoot the ball pretty well. Again, both they combined to be 0 for 5 against the Hawks, but overall they've been playing pretty well. And then Pat Bev, was it just one game? We'll see. Had to start with Dame out for personal reasons against the Hawks. 6 for 10 from the field, 2 for 5 from deep, all 4 of his free throws, 5 rebounds, 5 assists, 18 points, no turnovers. Pat Bev is a starter on the injured wrist, which clearly he is playing through. I mean, that's a pretty good bench, I think.
It is.
Bobby, Crowder, Connaughton, Pat Bev is a nice first 4 players off the
With
bench.
Baby Bird coming in too sometimes?
Not a great week for AJ Green.
No, not the best.
I think he'll bounce back. Maybe still under the weather. We'll see. But, I mean, playoff time, if you're mostly healthy, 9 is probably or 10 is probably as deep as you would ever go. And that the 10th would be AJ Green. And then the 4 guys that you can really rely on, the 4 vets, I feel pretty good about them.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of talent on this team. It's what we've been talking about. There's a lot of talent on this team. It's just about how they're managed, how they're utilized, what positions they're put in, and they can be successful. We've seen previous times during the season they weren't being put in a great position to succeed. Now they're being put in better positions to succeed. Obviously not Pat Bev, because he wasn't there, but just like the general tenor. And again, Jae Crowder had a lot of injuries, missed like 8 weeks during the beginning of the season. So it's not, ideal. Speaking of, sorry, I just had to look this up, clutch numbers, because I was curious about what the Bucks are post All-Star clutch. They have the 3rd best net rating in the clutch post All-Star break, a net rating of 29.5.
That's incredible, given the Lakers game where they lost 2 and drew 1 clutch situation, those overtimes.
Denver Nuggets, number 1 net rating of 48.4.
Yeah, not bad. They are currently leading the Cavs by 20 at home in the 4th quarter as we record. I mean, we have a bit to go, so we'll probably see close to the end of that game. But assuming that Denver doesn't bungle their clutch numbers entirely in this one game today, one reason to trust the Bucks is it looks like they will have a pretty solid seeding situation. Still 8 games to go, so the work's not done. But if this holds on and Denver beats Cleveland, the Bucks will be up 2.5 games each on the Cavs and the Knicks. They have another game remaining against the Knicks, not against the Cavs. They have the tiebreaker against the Knicks, but not against the Cavs. So obviously that Knicks game is big to give yourself an extra full game of space.
And that realistically only means they're 2 games up on the Cavs, not 2.5.
Correct. Yeah. They will be, although if they lose, they will be up 3 in the loss column.
Okay, there you go.
So it doesn't actually mean that. But yeah, it's the one team has to make up a game over the other. I'm not going to do this math. Nope, not going to.
I love that you're just like, yep, we're not.
Nope,
let's just move on.
Nope, not going to add right now, especially with the game still happening. That's way too much work. But the Bucks will play. It's looking more and more like one of the Heat or Sixers. The Pacers now a game ahead of 7th. So not super far ahead, but there is a little bit of space there. And the Sixers continue to fall on a 3-game losing streak. They are now a game and a half, 2 in the loss column, behind Miami. Of course, again, as we've said, the Bulls and Hawks don't matter at all. They are 4 and 5 games behind the Sixers. The Nets certainly don't matter. They're 5 games out of 10th. Just like, ugh. The Jalen Green rumors for them, not good.
Yeah, what was it? Mikal Bridges and 3 first-round or multiple first-round picks they turned down for
Jalen Green and their picks back is the rumor, which is like
taking that deal.
Yeah, I would say so. I like Mikal Bridges too, but
should have taken that deal. I mean, Jalen Green's hooping.
Put the Jalen Green of it aside. Just being able to control your own fate again.
That'd be nice.
They have picks coming in the future, which is
they
nice.
They don't have a pick this year.
No, I mean like from other teams, but their picks are all gone for James Harden.
James Harden, yeah.
So funny. Just so funny, dude.
Los Angeles Clipper, James Harden.
Yeah, speaking of teams
Remember the Clippers?
Not playing great.
Yeah.
Ty Lue said they're soft. Out loud.
Crazy.
Verbatim. That's not good.
That's something Adrian Griffin would do.
Or Doc.
Or Doc.
If we're being honest. If we're being honest. These guys just suck.
If you're the Bucks, if we're talking about standings right now, let's just say the Bulls and Hawks both lose during the neither of them are making it. It's between Miami and Philly, which is likely going to happen. Yep. So as I have this pulled up in front of me still, the Chicago Bulls are the number 2 team in terms of clutch net rating post All-Star break. But
they would have to win 2 to get in, though.
Yes, they would have to beat Atlanta.
I mean,
and then,
they could beat Philly, but it wouldn't matter. The Bucks never see them.
No, the Bucks only see Miami or Philadelphia.
Or Indy if they drop. Unless if the Bulls or Hawks got hot and the Sixers continue to slide. I mean, 4 games with 8 to play is tough. 4 games
with 8 to play is tough.
That's tough. It's technically possible, but very tough.
Very tough. So let's just assume it's 7-8 Miami, Philly.
Yep.
The winner of that game would play the Bucks if they stay at 2. Neither are ideal. I'd say Miami's more ideal.
I'd say Philly.
Embiid's coming back.
Okay. He's not going to be Embiid.
I know, but still, like, just the talent.
I don't care. I'd rather play. Well,
and you're setting yourself up for the same 2021 run where it's like you get beat by the Heat in 5, go sweep them the next year.
Listen, yeah, I'm not saying I don't want to play the Heat. I guess ideal was the wrong word. I think the Sixers will be easier to beat. Probably. I think Miami has more chance of beating the Bucks. I'll put it that way. Not saying easy.
Yeah, I'd say neither are really ideal. How about that for a first-round opponent?
I'm not concerned at all about Philly beating the Bucks if they even make it through the play-in.
That's fair.
I mean, AJ Green can clamp Maxey, Brook Lopez can clamp Joel. Done.
Oh, you put AJ Green.
I mean, watch the tape.
I know. You're not. It's just funny. It's like you didn't go Pat Bev.
Nope.
You didn't go
nope. I know who's out there on the perimeter locking down. Some Philly fans can be like, rah, 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 rah. That's only 80% serious, so don't get too upset about that. No, I just think like they're destined, I feel like, for Embiid to come back, not look right, and not play well. I could see them not making it through the play-in.
That'd be really funny, honestly.
More would be like, this is actually ideal because now we have a better draft pick to use this summer and more cap space.
For when we get Paul George.
Yeah, I've seen the 2 Clippers fans have been like, are you sure you want to max Paul? Have you seen all these games? Okay.
Well, you said the 2 Clippers.
They agreed. They're like, hey, I don't know, man. I'm not sure about this one. But yeah, I think, if the Bucks are going to, if the first round matchup isn't ideal, then you're a sad, pathetic team.
No, you're right. That's something I've used in the past. So yeah, you're right. That's holding me accountable. That's something I've said in the past. So you're right. It doesn't matter. If you're not able to beat the Miamis or the Phillies of the world, you're not going to win a title anyway. You know what? The real case for not wanting Miami in the first round is to make them go to Boston and beat the Celtics. That's also fair. Yeah. That would be amazing. Like, if the Celtics have to do Miami and New York before potentially seeing the Bucks, which I feel like the Knicks will catch the Cavs, but Donovan Mitchell's back. We'll see on that one. I think for the Bucks, your ideal bracket at this point is Cleveland in the second round. Yeah, and then absolutely. The Celtics have to play the Knicks and the Heat. If the Cavs get through the first round. Never a sure thing. I think they would beat the Pacers, who are currently there, but never a sure thing. And I also just think, whereas the Heat are kind of built to mess with the Celtics, I think the Celtics obliterate not conditioned Embiid Sixers to a crazy degree. Maybe a sweep. Yeah, probably. Gone. Al Horford is putting that. He's coming back, weak, unconditioned legs, and we know Al Horford is going to be just juiced and ready to go. In the best of shape ever. Yeah. He's gonna be looking like Bane. He plays. Like the full Venom stuff. He's not even going to hide it. It's going to be like coming, like the needles are going to be present. Like he's going to be doing it.
Let's not get you in legal trouble here.
Oh, yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
I was saying he's going to be Bane, not anything else.
Yep. The bane of our existence.
There you go.
Or of Phillies, hopefully. It would be so funny if the Bulls randomly got to the 35 and 39 Bulls are going to Boston. It would not be fun
DeRozan, it's going to go crazy.
I mean, if DeMar needs to get her out of school for as long as possible.
Oh, he's learned. He has to have learned his lesson.
Use your advantage here. I mean, you have this at your disposal. You might as well.
Well, it's your daughter. Like, come on.
Could you imagine, like, Boston bans her from the building?
Oh, that's totally something they would do.
Very, very on brand.
Honestly, it'd be really funny.
How many games is it acceptable for her to make your team miss all the free throws before you ban her from the building?
2.
Yeah. I think if two games you let this little girl make your team miss all your free throws, I think it's, you know what, like, it's not the right thing to do, but it's like, it's the playoffs, man. Like, sorry, you're banned.
But then when they go to the Chicago, she has like her own throne.
Yeah, you probably give her a megaphone.
Oh yeah, absolutely. All the Bulls fans will love it.
We've missed free throws before. We've airballed free throws in Oklahoma. Bucks aren't worried about that.
Giannis will be like, this might help me.
Yeah, this is fine. Oh, man. But yeah, I think seeding is a reason to sort of trust them. I don't think it's like a murderer's row bracket. I mean, even if they drop to 3, as long as they don't drop to 4, you at least wait on a potential Boston series till the conference finals, which is nice. And there's good teams in the East, but it's not. I mean, 21, I think, was arguably a harder bracket, getting the Nets in the second round. So there's nothing like that that's going to happen this year.
No,
I mean, the Knicks are a good team, but it's not like that.
The Bucks being 2 or 3, you'd want 2. You want that home court advantage in the second round, obviously.
Yeah.
That's fine. As long as you stay 2 or 3, ideally 2, I think you'll be fine. And even let's say you want to game the system. You don't want to play in Miami or Philly. Which, by the way, is not something you should ever do.
We don't condone this.
We do not condone this at all. I won't even say it. We don't even condone it. Don't upset the basketball gods.
Never upset the basketball gods. You mentioned him before. You said you don't trust the Bucks because of one Glenn Doc Rivers.
Oh, let me ask you, do you trust the Bucks because of Doc Rivers? Imagine asking that sentence like 4 months ago.
I think it's a neither for me. I really do. I think it's a neither.
I almost think it's a non-factor. He doesn't.
I don't think he's made them worse, despite their record being much worse under him.
I don't think he's made them worse. I think he's made them a little better, but I don't know how much of that is on Doc himself. Yeah. So I think it's honestly a wash.
Yeah,
I don't think he's.
I'll say this: I do not think. And I would be stunned if the reason they lose a playoff series is because of Doc Rivers.
I wouldn't be stunned.
I would be stunned. I just think, like, I've watched the way he's coached in the regular season. Like, he's not doing the 5-man bench lineups. He's not doing, no Giannis or Dame when they're both healthy. He's not doing, even the Gallo thing, like, he only plays them when there's a big out. It's not like Gallo is taking anyone's spot. Like, Dame missed a game. Gallo did not enter in the rotation, right? Like, I think somebody else missed a game. Like, I think there was a little Gallo, but really not very much. Like, I don't think there's going to be some, like, horrible decision. I think he'll probably get some smaller things wrong, but, like, so does every other coach. Like, I don't think he's going to be the reason they win a playoff series. To, like, make it clear that I'm not saying I think he's going to be this incredible playoff tactician. But again, as I've said many times since the Doc Rivers saga started for us 2 months ago, almost less than 3 months ago, which is insane.
Oh my God, it feels like it's been an eternity.
It does. But like I was watching Philly in the playoffs last year, and I was like, feels like Doc's doing okay. It's not all the jokes when they lose and they blow leads or whatever. It's like Doc. But I was watching, I was like, he's not doing anything crazy. He's playing Paul Reed, he's playing Maxey. Okay.
This reminds me. Give me Philly in the first round. I want to see Philly fans Doc Rivers. Yeah, I want to see Philly fans after Doc Rivers eliminates them.
That would be very funny.
Yeah, that would just be perfect.
Just don't go to a game 7.
Yeah, just you don't need to. Like, just win in 4.
Don't have a 3-1 lead.
Yeah. Have you ever considered just winning 4-0?
Yeah, that works. That's a proven strategy.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't distrust them because of Doc. So I think what this comes back to, and I think this has really been on display the last 2 losses. Dame and to a lesser extent Khris have to be great.
They dictate where this team goes.
I think it's almost all on them. Like I think
it's all on them.
Well, that's what I'm like. I think there's very few scenarios where it's like they lost this game because Jae Crowder, Pat Connaughton, and Brook Lopez weren't good enough. Like I think if Dame and Khris are at the level they need to be at, we know Giannis will be there. I'm not worried about that whatsoever. I think enough of the bench will show up and at least be like treading water in their roles because they can like defend or make smart cuts or whatever. Like they have a smart, savvy, competent bench that I think if Dame and Khris play to the potential they need to for this team, I think they can win a championship or at least like go out in a really tough series against the Boston or Denver. But they could beat any other team or should beat any other team. But I think if Khris and especially Dame are not good enough, that's when things get fraught. I think that's the potential weak link I see right now.
Do you think this Bucks team wins the title?
I was a big yes after OKC.
You don't
They're
have
so
to
inconsistent.
You don't have to answer this question.
I'm going to answer this. I'm a podcaster. I'm not going to shy away from this question. I think yes. I think they figure it out enough.
I think they're capable.
You're not going to say yes, though.
I'm not going to say yes. I'm not going to say no.
Is it because you think Boston and Denver are so good, or is it because you think the Bucks are maddeningly inconsistent?
I think maddeningly. They're very inconsistent. I don't know what just happened.
I feel like that's like a movie poster word.
I'm not. My brain is like not comprehending this word.
I don't even know if that's a real word. I feel like it is, but it's like a strange combination of syllable. Yeah,
it's not. It doesn't sound right.
I'm gonna Google.
I mean, I'm sure you're right. It just doesn't sound like. It doesn't make sense to me.
It is a word in an extremely annoying way. Their feelings. Their feelings were maddeningly ignored. Is the example sentence.
They're very inconsistent, and just because. Like I don't know if they can live up to their potential.
Yeah, I think there's a solid chance they don't.
Because they have the potential to just wipe the floor with everyone.
Yeah.
They have the potential to blow a Denver or a Boston out of the water.
Not for a full series, I don't think, but in enough games to win the series. Yeah, I agree.
And even like the other games would be close. Like in a series, they could win 4-2 and they win 3 of the games by 20. I could see that happening.
I am saying yes, because unlike the March game against the Lakers, as annoying as it was, I just can't imagine that we're in a second round or beyond playoff series, and we don't get to a point where it's just like Dame and Giannis are just like, yeah, we're just going to go score 30 each. Like this is the real stuff now. That it was fun when we were like, oh, like the ball movement's still important. They should still move the ball, but late in the game. I just can't imagine there's going to be 5 possessions where it's like, all right, go on, Bees, do it. Like, I just think those 2 guys are going to be like, yeah, we're going to go do this now. And we're not going to be bad 4 times out of 7 games.
Here's the thing, though. If you're the Bucks, you just have to make it to the second round, and you've improved on last year.
That's very true. You have to win 2 games. So you can just win 2 games, and you're
I just have to go to 2 games, because I went to the only win. The only postseason game I've ever been to for the Milwaukee Bucks, they won.
And I can say the opposite. So I will not be attending.
What if we both attend? What happens? Someone make it happen.
Yeah, let's. If they go to the finals, let's go.
Yeah, let's do it. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Then
let's strategically pick the game.
Yes.
Probably 3 or 4. Or would you want to do a later one and test it there? That's a lot to put on the podcasting universe. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's not even. We said if.
Yes. It's gonna be an interesting road. Like we said, less than 3 weeks until the playoffs start. Do we have any other factors that we need to cover?
I want to talk about my Ty Washington interview.
Oh, please, yes.
Before we answer the final question of if we trust the Bucks, because we haven't given our final answers, or can we trust the Milwaukee Bucks? Ty, so he said to me a couple weeks ago, remarked that like he thinks he's proved he could be a backup point guard in the NBA. And unprompted, I didn't ask that question. And I was like at the time and since, and really since like it's even grown on me more, I was like, that's such a like mature and grounded answer and goal for first round pick, a highly touted player out of college who I think fell in the first round, probably could have been picked higher. But of course, did end up getting traded and then cut. So obviously has gone through it and took the two-way with Milwaukee. But I thought that answer impressed me. So after the last Herd home game, they won their last game of the year against the Windy City Bulls yesterday, by the way. Congrats to the Herd. Did not qualify for playoffs, unfortunately, but went out on a right note. I asked Ty Washington Jr. about if he would like to be the Bucks' backup point guard, because that's his goal, is to be a backup point guard. He said, absolutely. I want to stick around if they'll have me. I want to keep learning from Dame, and I want to, they have a lot of great players, whatever, all the qualifiers that players smartly use, but I want that spot next year, which I thought was very cool. I think he will have a shot to compete for it. I think he's been excellent in the G League, has really raised his efficiency. His per minute turnovers are up, or turnovers are down.
The other day?
Yeah.
27 or something? 27, was it, in the first
points?
Half? Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he ended with 38, I think, 37. It was a season high. He had the 50 burger for Rio Grande, but he's been more of a true point guard this year, I think. And he talked about learning from head coach Ben Ouja, who, of course, a point guard in the NBA for many years, as well as from Dame and the rest of the Bucks up there. But yeah, his assists per minute are up. His turnovers per minute are down. He's been the lead guard ever since they moved on from Lindell Wigginton, who's in Korea or maybe China, and playing well, whichever it is. I know he's overseas somewhere. But anyway, yeah, I thought that was cool for Ty as a shot to be the backup point guard last year. That was not on the feed here because it was just a quick interview I did after the game, but that is on our YouTube channel if you want to see the full interview.
It's a great interview.
Thank you. Thank you very much. GSPN.info has the YouTube link and all of our links, of course.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be really interesting going into the summer. I mean, the Bucks obviously value a young talent like Ty. That's why you were so happy to have him brought in. Is it too late to convert him?
They don't have a roster spot.
I know.
Oh, I mean...
Sorry, AJ Green.
No, that's not where I was going. We're not moving out from AJ Green on that contract. He is an absolute bargain right now.
That 3-year deal he signed this past offseason is looking like a steal.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
AJ is going to be in the rotation next year. I'll tell you that.
He's in the rotation this year.
Exactly. And I think there's going to be some vets right now who are not back next year. I would assume. I mean, maybe not, but a lot of players on expiring or one-year deals at the moment who factor from Milwaukee who probably won't next year. We'll see. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see. Like, is a Pat Bev back? And probably a lot depends on how the Bucks do this year. But I think Ty is in a good position to push to have a real role next year and be a backup point guard. The Bucks haven't had a great backup. I mean, Pat Bev, I guess now, but probably since peak George Hill. Well, yeah.
Peak George Hill was elite. He was their closing guard because he was essentially the best guard of the team.
Yeah, that player right now would be so nice. But at least we got Pat Bev. But anyway.
Belt to ass continues.
It does. The Bucks have been very maddeningly inconsistent. I do think we can trust them because I think they kind of always have been. I saw somebody post they had to lose the Lakers game because in 2021 they were also 46-26, and that was their 26th loss after they had won 46 games. I don't subscribe to that, but
no, we can't.
I don't think. I think the Bucks, though, even when they won, they were very inconsistent.
They broke me as a human being.
Yeah.
That's on the internet.
Again, that series, the stat, they never led after 48 minutes after 48 minutes of a game one in that playoff series.
Yeah. I mean, that Nets series, just go back and listen.
3 losses. And then, the Nets did break you.
Yeah.
That's still in the intro. That basketball game is... I have health problems from that basketball game, or what'd you say?
Caused health problems.
Yeah, that basketball caused... Yeah.
It did. I've never been the same person since.
You're doing good, though.
Thank you. And we will keep you guys all here for the postseason. We are going to do our same stuff After every game, you can expect a podcast from us. We're gonna have series. I can't talk today. Series previews.
It's maddeningly.
You know what's another word I can't say? Like drawer. I can't say
Drawer?
that. Yeah,
you just said it.
I know, but I have to think about it every time I do. I don't know why I'm just outing myself right now, but
I think these are forgivable. At least you make your bed.
Oh my God! Don't get me started. Don't get me started. Tommy DeVito.
Tommy Cutlets.
I'm coming for you, man. Like somebody needs to teach you a lesson about making your bed.
Rohan will be that guy.
I will. And you got to do like your tucks and stuff. You got to do like there's like a special type of tuck you can do to get your fitted sheet and your top.
You were
sheet.
Just in New York. You missed your opportunity to.
I could have. Oh my God, I could have.
You just go to MetLife and walk like 2 blocks in every direction. You're gonna find them eventually.
Wait, isn't that New Jersey though?
Yes, it is.
I was not in New Jersey.
Yeah, could have taken a train over though.
I could have. You know what? Here's a fun story.
You could from DC too.
Yeah, here's a fun story to end the pod. So I was walking around DC. That's next week. I was walking around New York. We went to One World Trade Center, me and my girlfriend. And like we walk into this mall. It's called the Oculus. That's right outside. And we're like, this is fun. Let's see. Let's do some shopping, you know. We walk in. I'm like, something feels weird about this building. I'm like, I feel like I'm in a knockoff Calatrava. Like I'm in a knockoff Milwaukee Art Museum. Like, you know, the architect Calatrava.
Oh,
yeah. I'm explaining to the. I know you know, Ty.
Okay.
And I'm just like, this is a knockoff Calatrava. Like that's just what it is. I'm like, what is this building? Like it's a knockoff. I'm just like, they really just copied it and thought no one would notice. And then we're walking, and I see a plaque. It's designed by Calatrava. It's not a knockoff. The guy's just a one-trick pony.
Yeah, I just loves those particular shapes.
Triangle hallway in the Milwaukee Art Museum. You can find it in the Oculus.
Such a bad name.
The Oculus?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is kind of a bad name.
That's a virtual reality device. Like
it is. You wouldn't think mall, right? And it's like a high-end mall. There's like a Breitling and stuff.
Welcome to my mall, Nintendo DS. Like, no, it's bad. Not a good name for a mall.
The Oculus is very fun, but yeah.
Calculator. That's not bad. I would name a building Calculator.
Yeah.
That'd be a good NBA player name.
Oh my God, yeah.
Like, if there was some sort of math connection.
Well, maybe the guy was like a math nerd in like.
We have called Giannis the geometrist before.
We have?
Yeah, with the angles, I have.
Oh, I don't remember that.
Oh. I'm not disappointed at all.
But yeah, it was a knock. I was like, oh, it's not a knockoff. It's just the real thing. So if you're ever in New York, make sure to check out the Oculus if you want to see something that looks
some
like
suggestions on what else to call it while you're there.
Yeah. And it's like, oh, it looks like the art museum. But yeah, we'll have you covered for all things Milwaukee Bucks here in the postseason as we sort of wind down this season, which is crazy. It still feels like we're in the middle because the Bucks have not figured themselves out yet either.
They have this week back-to-back against bad teams. On the road Tuesday against the Wizards, at home Wednesday against the Grizzlies, then home Friday for Raptors, and then big game Sunday night against the Knicks that you'll hear from some of us, some mix of us between us and Windisch and between now and then, but I'm sure that that Knicks game will be a big one to pod after. And then right after that, Tuesday, Celtics. And then after that, it's home stretch. Was it Magic?
That Celtics game might not even matter.
I think it's going to matter for Milwaukee to some extent.
There's a chance that the Bucks have the 2 seed locked up by then.
That Sunday night Knicks game will have a lot to do with it. Yep. And hopefully they do, because Thunder Magic is not an easy last 3 games, especially with the last 2 on the road.
No, not at all. You want to get your guys some rest in, especially, gearing up for what should be a long postseason run, and we'll have you covered with all things Bucks postseason and everything else, all things Wisconsin sports here at GSPN. Like we mentioned up top, make sure you listen to Cruising for a Bruising to hear all the good thoughts on Reese Hoskins, Jackson Churio, and what was that reliever's name? Ryan Hudson or something? Ryan Hudson? I don't even know. They
call him Rock Hudson, which is a very old reference that Pat Murphy is making. I don't remember his first name, though.
It's Hudson, though.
Trevor?
Trevor? It's not a Trevor. He can't be a Trevor.
It is Brian.
Okay, cool.
He is
Brian
6'8".
6'8" Brian Hudson. They just grew that guy in a pod. And they're just like, hey, here's your new star reliever. Here you go. Get well soon, Devin, please.
Yeah.
But yeah, make sure you listen to Adam and Andrew talk about all things Milwaukee Brewers, and check out all of our pods at gspn.info. Make sure you're subscribed wherever you're listening to this podcast, on your podcast platform of choice, or watching on YouTube. And yeah.
Oh no, I didn't hit record.
Oh no, Ty.
Happy early April Fool's Day, Rohan.
Oh, good.
I gotcha.
Oh,
I gotcha.
my God.
I gotcha.
Oh, my God. You actually got me.
Yes.
You actually got me.
I usually hate April Fool's Day stuff. Like, I'm not going to do a fake Bucks thing or anything. I just don't think it's good. But that felt like
You actually, you know what? Fair play. You actually got me on that one. You did. Your facial expression sold it. Make sure you check out the YouTube for that. Oh my God. My heart was being upset. No.
I could tell I had you because you were just quiet. You were like trying to not be upset. And I was like, let me tell him early. I don't want to make him be in a bad headspace for too long.
No, I appreciate it. That was good. Yeah, that was good. You did get me on that. Good. Nice. And we do have to
redo the pod, but it was a funny bit too.
Oh, okay, cool.
No. We're good.
Yeah, happy early April Fool's Day, everyone. Man, that was good. I appreciate that was good. What props to you, man. But yeah, pod random. Truly pod random. We'll talk to you next time.